So now you've watched the preset questions video, and you're probably thinking, I want more flexibility. And that's reasonable. That's why we created custom questions. Let's try it. So let's make the assumption, first of all, that if a customer has never used a cleaning service before, their home might be a little bit dirtier. And so we want to add 15% to the estimate total if they've never used a cleaning service before. Now that's kind of a big ask. It's not possible with preset questions. And so we're going to turn to custom questions here to define a new question that actually can affect our estimate price. So you see I've already made a couple of them here, and I'll get into what they do in a minute. But I'm going to go into new custom question. Of course, we're in the custom questions page under tools. And I'm going to type a question. Say, have you ever used a cleaning service before? Now I'm going to ask this question to the customer, so you always want to make it sound friendly and inviting. You catch more flies with honey, so to speak. We go to type of question, and there are 4 different types of questions. Now I'm going to make this one a radio question. Just for reference, those 4 questions I've already created. I created one of each type. So here's what they'll look like to the customer. This is a number question up here. The customer will be able to type in a number, hopefully not one that's that big, but they're not able to type any letters or symbols, just numbers. So this is good for asking a question like, how many kids live in your house, right? That's not a multiple choice question. That's a number question. Down here is radio questions. These, you get to choose one of the options, right? One of them is always going to be selected, but only one of them. Think about the old radios where you'd press down a button and the one you had pressed pops back up again. That's what this is named after. Just like one of those old radios, only one of them is selected. Drop-down questions are functionally equivalent to radio questions. They work the same way, but they look a little bit different. So instead you get this nice drop-down here, and you get to select one of the options. And then lastly, checkbox questions. Be careful with this one, because they can select any amount of the options. So they can select all 3. They can select none of them. They can select just one of them, maybe 2 of them. So you want to be careful that they are additional options, and you're all right if the customer selects more than one, or if they don't select any at all. On the contrary, radio questions and drop-down questions, one of them will always be selected. As for number questions, if they don't fill it out, it'll automatically be a 0, and so it won't affect your calculations at all. So let's go back to our custom questions page, and we're going to add an answer to this radio question. Have you ever used a cleaning service before? So really there's only 2 possible answers to the question, yes or no. Maybe you want to add yes, but it was more than a year ago, or something like that. You get to decide. You have that flexibility here with custom questions. I'll just do yes and no here. Type yes, press the enter button, and then I'll say for yes, I don't want to add anything, right? Because if they have used their cleaning service, a cleaning service before, then maybe their home is pretty clean. They know the drill. It won't take you as long. So we won't add anything. So we're just going to add a 0, right? We don't want to add anything if they select yes. However, add another question or another answer, no. If they select no, we want to add 15% if they've never used a cleaning service before. So that's 15% added to the total. Now there are a couple other options here. You could add $15 to the total, or 15 minutes to the total. Recall in the preset questions and drivers video, we discussed the payroll options under drivers. So if you add 15 minutes, that's a quarter of an hour, so it'll add a quarter of your hourly rate in dollars. Might be a little bit confusing, but you'll start to get the hang of it. Right now I'm going to go with percent. And then lastly, added to the total. We probably want to choose added to the total here. but you can also choose per occupant. Obviously, that only works if you're asking how many occupants there are, which is a question that you can turn off, so just be careful with that one. If we made this a number question, these options would be a lot simpler, right? There aren't possible answers to a numbers question. So you'll see it get a lot simpler. But for the radio here, we'll just click Add Cost Driver to add that no answer. If you made a mistake or you think that you want to go back, add something else, you can press these little garbage can icons next to yes and no. So I'll get rid of the no answer, and then I can recreate it. No, add 15% to the total. There's our answer. So we'll just create new custom question here. And it'll open up our active custom questions for us. Now, in case you didn't see we were here, what it did is it clicked on View Custom Questions for us in the Active Custom Questions section. And we'll see all of our questions in here. So I already have these four. You can edit or delete them. So let's say I wanted to delete, this is a radio question. And it'll ask me, are you absolutely sure? Yes. Now luckily that isn't permanent. If you go back down to View Custom Questions and Archived Custom Questions, you'll see it right there. Don't mind this, I had made that one before. But this is a radio question. That's the one I just deleted. And we can edit it or restore it. So let's edit it. This is an archived question. Click Update. We'll go right down to Archive Custom Questions, and it says this is an archive question. So that question won't show up. Right? That won't show up on our estimate. Under Active Custom Questions, we can edit or delete them too. We can edit this one. We make this a radio question. We'll change the type of question to radio as well. Select Update. Archived questions can also be restored. If you want to restore this, you just ask, you say restore. Say, are you absolutely sure you want to restore this question? Yes, I am. Go back into active. And there it is. This is an archived question. How about we edit that? Because it's not archived anymore. This is a restored question. Yay. There you go. So this will hopefully start to become intuitive. It seems a little bit difficult at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's a very powerful tool to affect your estimate costs. So that's how custom questions work. You want to get familiar with this, because it's likely how you'll be making the bulk of your estimate tool, like I said. And it's also likely how you'll be determining the bulk of your profit. This is a money-making page, so you want to make sure you come up with reasonable numbers here. So that's that for the questions. They make our estimate accurate. But now let's look at how to make our estimate tool look good with the widget appearance page.